Oh, sorry. I was just having a quick mince pie before we started. Hopefully you'll have had a mince pie. This might give you an idea about what general topic I am going to be talking about today. Yes, it was. Oh, hold on. No, no, boys, no, no, no. Go back to sleep. I didn't mention mince pies. No, I said Vince cries. You know, my cousin Vincent. He was crying because everyone forgot his birthday. You know, the one that was in April, and he's still crying. No, 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 no mince pies. I've got to go and buy some yet. So yeah, get back to sleep. I'll put it down. So, general topic. Hang on. Let's just put my hands over there. Food. Now, come to Christmas, apart from presents, of course, one of the big parts of Christmas is the special foods. I'm going to be talking about two of them today. Mince pies, funnily enough, and the turkey. Now, mince pies are very old, and to be fair, so are the turkeys. Mince pies came from the hot part of the world, the Middle East. We brought them back after having gone over there. And actually, there you are thinking little mince pies like I just had. Actually, they were this shape. They were rectangle. That's what they were traditionally. And the pies that we know are only very recent, you know, within the last 100 years or so. Before that, they were, well, basically a tart rather than a pie, and they'd have all the contents would be in the middle of it. The idea was that it was to represent the manger in which Jesus was laid just after he was born. You know, the manger was the big sort of box thing that the animals who were kept in the barn would eat from. That's where their food was put in. And it was very different also because originally the main part of it was meat, and they did have some dried fruit in, but it was mostly meat. Now you might think, ooh, fruit and meat, but actually we quite often put a fruit with meat. Pork and apple is a big thing, and of course on the Christmas meal itself you've got turkey and cranberry sauce, and you know we have those two together. So it's, yes, we don't have it in large amounts of times, but large amounts of recipes, but we do certainly do it. And what they did was over time it became sweeter and sweeter until eventually meat disappeared. The problem I've got with this is you've got this big rectangle thing with all this meaty middle bit, and my head starts going, and I start, you know, getting pictures of things, and I got in my head the whole what happened and how come they started making them like this. So you've got Jesus and Mary. Hang on, not Jesus and Mary. Sorry, he was a baby. Sorry, Joseph and Mary. So Mary goes, "Oh, Joseph, you're so clever. Putting the baby in the manger, it means he can't roll over and fall out. Well done, very clever." Joseph? Yes? Did you not clear it out properly first? What do you mean? Well, there's a load of brown stuff at the bottom, you know. Oh. Yeah. We didn't have a nappy, so, So that's what started off the original mince pies, as a rectangle with a load of brown stuff down the bottom. Now I do hope that hasn't put you off mince pies. It certainly hasn't put me off. Nothing puts me off a mince pie. That unfortunately is how my head goes. So the thing with mince pies is it's very, very full of ideas. So you think, oh, it's just a little pie to eat that tastes nice. Well, yes, it is. But there were 3 spices in it: cinnamon, clove and nutmeg. And they were there to represent the 3 wise men who appeared when Jesus was born. Also, and of course you've already got the fact that it's the shape of the manger, which is where Jesus was put. But also in total there are 13 ingredients, and 13 is, well, for a bit later in Jesus's life, Jesus had 12 disciples, so between them there were 13 of them who were trying to get the religion going, and that's 13, that's what they represent. Also, it's supposed to be good luck to have a mince pie every one of the 12 days of Christmas. Oh no, have I got to have a mince pie every day? Oh, that's so hard. And also stirring it is like, same with Christmas pudding, is supposed to be lucky. I'm not quite sure why, but it is. Last but not least, mince pies has a different meaning as well. What happened was, way back when, in a part of London, there were a group of people called Cockneys, and they used to hide what they were saying from the police by using rhymes that referred to what they actually wanted to say. So say, oh, oi, John, that policeman, he's got his mince pies on you. So the policeman would be thinking, oh, wrong time of year for mince pies, and I certainly wouldn't leave them on him. They're, miles too expensive. What he obviously meant was that policeman has his eyes on you, and there's loads and loads of things like that. I could one day do a little video on that, which is really interesting. But the last thing I really must say, because you remember last time, it was they get in there again. That's when mince pies really started taking off. Still only for the rich, because that fruit being shipped in, couldn't be grown here, so it was very expensive. But because they were so famous, and there was all the newspapers and stuff, they'd have all these drawings. They didn't do photographs really then. It meant it became well known, everything they did, and people started going, well, if it's good enough for her and her husband and her family, well, I think I should do it too. So it started to pick up. It only picked up with the commoners like us about 100 years ago, roughly. So yeah, that's mince pies for you. Now, turkey, I am going to have to use a crib sheet, a cheat sheet, because there's a lot to it, my dear, a lot to it, and you'll see what I mean. Now, turkey is not natural to our lands. In fact, it's not natural to any of the lands around here. Here's the world. And oh, hang on, we've got Varna. She's not a turkey, but she's just said she'll help out though. Yeah. So you've got the map of the world. Now, where we are is up here, this blue bit here. That's us. And all around here is Europe, that bit there. And we very much did a lot of the same things back when this all happened, which is similarly about roughly 600 years ago. Over here, that's the Americas. North America, well, you've got America, And then South America, where you've got loads of different countries. All of different parts of Europe all came over to this place sort of 600 years ago and started to live there. And, they'd send back these wonderful new things, one of which was the turkey. Yeah, I know, not you. This is a vulture, by the way, and she's very proud of it. And so they got sent over, and it started being eaten by the rich people, not by commoners like us. We were, if we were lucky, we'd maybe eat a goose, but not a big turkey. Anyway, the reason I've got all this, shall I put it down now? Yeah. The reason I've got all this is to talk about the name. Now, obviously, we call it a turkey. Now, Turkey is a country over roughly here. And for some unknown reason, despite the fact Turkey is coming from here, we called it a turkey. All the English countries all call it a turkey. Goodness knows why. Best I can think of is when it started getting really imported, brought in from this country, that it came in via here and the sea there and sort of ended up at Turkey and they spread it out. I don't know. So the reason I've done this is it's not the only stupid blinking name that turkeys have. And that's why I've got to have this list, because there's a load of them. Well, I'm going to put it down there. So we've got turkey. The Indian. India is there. The Indian bird. Okay. There's a number of places here and then down here and up here. All call it the Indian bird. Now, India call it, where are we? They call it the fire chicken, or at least parts of India call it the fire chicken. I mean, roasted chicken, that would be close, but there you go. You've then got this area. We'll name it after Italy, which is down here. Again, the ships could have come across there. So it's called either the Italian rooster, hey, the rooster is a male chicken, or sometimes the Roman rooster, which is the city, the main city in Italy. A couple of countries call it the French chicken, which is here. You've got the Dutch chicken. Some of the countries from over here call it the Dutch chicken. Iran, they call it the colourful bird. Oh, I forgot to say. Hang on. I bet I haven't got this on now because I'm an idiot. No, I haven't got it on. Never mind. It is quite a colourful bird, and it's got great big feathers coming out the back. And its head, it doesn't have feathers on its head, and that skin can change colour depending upon what their mood is. And that is where the Japanese get their name, the seven-faced bird, partly because it keeps changing the colour of its skin, depending upon whether it's happy, sad, annoyed, whatever. And also they've got a plant in Japan that one single plant can have flowers of 7 different colours, so they sort of link that up. They're very good at sort of doing pictures in their head, the Japanese. And then you've got Albania calls it the rooster of the ocean, which is why I've got crosses there in the sea. Why rooster of the ocean? You put that bird in the ocean, it's sinking. It's it's not swimming. It's probably not going to float. It's going to sink because they're quite big. Very, very weird. But then you've got, last but not least, you're thinking, what do these countries, well, so not America calls it, they call it the same as us. What do these ones down here call it? Where it actually comes from? Well, one of them actually calls it by the name of a neighbouring country, the Peru. I mean, it's over the whole of the continent, so I don't really know why they picked on the Peru. They also call it the peacock. you know, peacock feathers, absolutely lovely. I think because they both have quite a lot of feathers out the back, although the turkey doesn't have half as many as the lovely, lovely, lovely peacock. And we have got also, they will call it the parva, which means royal bird, because it's pretty, you know, it is quite striking looking. Silly me not having the picture open, but there you go. I suppose I should probably try and get it on whilst I'm talking to you. And last but not least, the people who originally lived in this country, their old society called it the Old Monster, which I quite like. Well, I'm not sure I want to eat an old monster, which is possibly why they did it, to stop people from eating it. Bit of a weird name, and I'm not quite sure. I mean, yes, it's got an ugly head. But hey, I've got an ugly head. Doesn't mean you need to call me an old monster, does it? It's a bit rude. Bit rude. Anyway, as I said, 600 or so years ago it came over. All the rich people, and you know, don't you? You know who got it going, who encouraged it. Yes, they ate it, and it made all the rich people want to have it. Oh, I don't know if you know the story A Christmas Carol, also known as Scrooge. It's about a nasty old man, and the first part of the story has a very poor family managed to pull enough money together to buy a little goose. They're much smaller, tiny compared to a turkey, and they were going to have that for their family at Christmas. By the end, the nasty old man becomes a nice old man, and he buys them a turkey. So not only is the turkey much bigger, which would give them a lot more to eat, but also it was expensive. So only the rich people would eat them back then. Obviously, since then, lots of things have changed and we are now all able to eat it. But funnily enough, we still normally only have it on special occasions. I mean, how often do you have a turkey? Normally, most people will have turkey at Christmas and Easter, and that's it. I suppose it's probably often because those are sort of two of the very few times that you'll have a large number of people all sitting down to a meal, and turkeys are enormous. You know, it's like, who ate all the food? The turkey did! Until we got to eat it, of course. Right. Sorry, should have done this before, but I am an idiot. So let me just bring this up and let's... honestly, what am I like? Where are we? Oh, I had this all ready, and then I completely forgot to switch this on because I am an idiot. Right, we have got the turkeys, which you could probably look up yourself, but I'm going to do it now anyway. There you go. There's the turkey. If you can see, his head is rather ugly, which is probably where the old monster comes in, and he's pretty striking though, really pretty. Got lots of feathers of different colours, and you can see why some people were quite impressed and called them the royal bird, etc. So anyway, that, my dear, is two of the main Christmas things, and all I can say is Merry Christmas.